Oh, there you go. Collateral time, baby. With APDS. There you go. Lovely stuff. You love to see it. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we have another devblog for a new vehicle, and this is for the Battle of Arachis event. This is going to be the new crafting event, which was talked about last week because of the USS Davis devblog. The Alecto is one of those vehicles that was leaked, and it's one that I've been looking forward to for a incredibly long time as a general little vehicle. It is going to be the Mark I variant, which is cool because it brings the 95mm howitzer to the game, and it's going to be a rank 1 British premium, so it's super cool to see in general. Hopefully we can get some more information on the crafting event soon, and also get ready for it. Let's get into the history of the vehicle. The Alecto technically started its life as a further development of the Tetrac light tank, because the main further development of the Tetrac light tank was the Mark VIII Harry Hopkins light cruiser tank. This was made by Vickers Armstrong. They were trying to create an airborne tank with the idea. Since the mass of the vehicle by the beginning of the production exceeded the allowable for the project, and the design itself still required serious improvements, the company's engineering team decided to continue their work, turning the project into a light self-propelled unit with a 3.75-inch howitzer QF 95mm. Even though the Harry Hopkins needed a lot of improvements, they did still make 100 of the things. The chassis engine compartment was completely unified with the Harry Hopkins, while the combat compartment and the gun were completely new for the series of vehicles. The SPG was called the Alecto 1, or the Alecto Mark I, and it went into testing in 1944. And after implementing new changes, basically increasing in the mass of the machine, the self-propelled guns were built in a small batch by June 1945. The war had already ended by that time, and all units built were used mainly for training purposes and also were decommissioned in 1955. So didn't really see too much active service when it came to the war, but did see post-World War II. So even though the Alecto probably won't be the best vehicle, I'm super happy to see it in the game for many different reasons. Some of them such as the fact that we may see the Harry Hopkins in-game, which would be fantastic to see. Also the other Alecto variants as well, meaning that this being a premium vehicle for an event isn't too rough, because we could see another variant of it with a different gun in the tech tree, so people could definitely have a bit of fun with it. And the fact that the Alecto Mark I brings in the 95mm howitzer, this is a gun which I would love to see more of in the game. You know, there's stuff such as the Centaur, which is very similar to the Cromwell, basically a Cromwell but with a slightly different engine. But a lot of the Centaurs, especially the Centaur 4CS, had access to the 95mm. It would be really nice to see more vehicles in the game with this gun. And it seems like when it comes to the Alecto, it's going to be able to fire smoke, high explosive fragmentation, and also heat rounds. And these heat rounds will be able to pen more than 100mm of armor penetration. So generally, this gun will have no issues with whatever it's going up against, specifically because it's going to be a rank 1 vehicle. Now, the only issue with something like the Alecto is, well, everything else. The gun itself will be quite nice. Obviously, the reload is going to be something that we have to look at, and never really talks about reload in devblogs. It would be nice if it did, but maybe, you know, they're not sure of where to put it because it is manual reloaded. And also, at the same time, a lot of the shortcomings of the vehicle could be sorted out by the fact that it's quite small and also has a pretty good reload. But if it doesn't have that reload, then it might be a little bit rough. Now, the shortcomings itself, it doesn't have a turret, so its gun is going to have very little horizontal traverse and also a vertical traverse. It's also open-topped, so whenever a plane spawns in the air, you're going to die. And then also at the same time, it's labeled as an SPG, so it probably won't get access to scouting, and also won't get access to artillery, which is a little bit of a problem. Well, it definitely won't get scouting because it's a rank 1, but artillery would have been nice on the machine, but I'm guessing never mind. It also has access to a 158 horsepower engine. This thing can get it to 48 kilometers an hour, which isn't great, but it's not terrible, so it should be good enough. At that tier, there's a lot of vehicles which are super fast around the battlefield, so the Alecto might seem like it's a little bit slower than them, but overall it'll do alright with it, and the armor itself is basically non-existent. And at rank 1, one of the things that you have access to with a bunch of different nations, such as the Germans and the Italians, is autocannons, which do a decent amount of damage once they start penning you. So yeah, it can be a little bit rough with this machine, and we'll have to see if it is possible to even withstand any shots when it comes to the vehicle itself. It also doesn't have a machine gun, so you are fully reliant on your 95mm to be able to do the wonderful stuff. This thing is going to be a little bit of a fun vehicle, a little bit of what I'd class as kind of a meme vehicle, but I don't think it's going to be any good. It's just going to be a nice hangar decoration, at least for me, and I'll be happy with that, to be honest with you. The Alecto is one of those just super interesting series of vehicles, kind of like the Valiant in a way, where would just nice to see it. You know, there's a bunch of these different ones for War Thunder, at least in the tank side for Britain. You know, you got the Covenanter, the Centaur, the Cavalier, all of these different vehicles, which it's been kind of a long time coming that they've started coming to the game. So it's really nice to see the fact that this vehicle is now coming in. I'm really hoping that people enjoy this one. Normally when it comes to these crafting events, you can normally get the lowest tier prize and then one of the higher tier prizes as the maximum rewards. Unfortunately, the last few have been set up so you can't get all 4 prizes, which sucks, to be honest with you. So a lot of people, if they fully grind out the event and don't want to spend any money, will probably end up with this thing and also one of the high tier vehicles if they fully grind it out. So that is something at least to look forward to. If all of the other vehicles are what was leaked, you know, the T-72, and also the other vehicle, which is, of course, the crazy plane, then generally I think a lot of people will enjoy these vehicles, and the Alecto will kind of be forgotten about. And I hope it isn't, because it really, even though it doesn't really have a weird and wonderful place in history, it is a weird and wonderful vehicle, and showing how you can take designs which were, let's just say, not the best, and actually turn them into something useful. Something the British had to do over and over and over again in World War II because of their lack of, I suppose, innovation when it comes to their tanks. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Merciless Reaper, Jerry Provolt, Mega Dino King, Professor X1718, Orange Tail, Sakoshi Tiger, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, Moxie, B. Young, and Derek R., Barine, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.